What is going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. I'm also the Director of Research at LeDuc Trading. It is January 19th, 2021. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to be talking about the price action, the indices, volatility. We'll go under the hood and check out the sectors and style factors. We'll take a look at some of my trades for today, and then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer as always, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters, and last but not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. So let's jump right in. We had the S&P 500 up 0.79% today. We had the NASDAQ QQQ up 1.46%. We had the IWM small caps up 1.28%. And we had the Dow Jones up 0.39%. And there was a lot of important dynamics going on today. And especially after the close with those Netflix earnings, that in my opinion is a bit of a game changer. And today was definitely a bit like discombobulating for me. I had a couple things, like some trades sort of go the wrong way, and I had to improvise along the way. But tomorrow is a new day, so we'll see what happens. So if we take a look at our S&P 500 chart here, you can see we were consolidating sideways last week into options expiration. Then we had a pretty big, nasty red candle where we pulled back to the 20-day simple moving average. And for today's price action, we had a perfect rebound off those lows, and, essentially a bullish engulfing candle. So everything is looking, pretty bullish on all time frames. And if you take a look, this is where the futures are right now. You can see they are up slightly. What I was watching for most of the day is because I have a SPY hedge on the books right now. I put that hedge on about 2 days ago. I made some money on it when the market got really volatile. Pretty much gave it all back today. But you can see here, what I've been watching is last week we broke below the weekly value area. And you can see in the overnight session leading into today, we completely retook, a bunch of levels. We jumped back into the weekly value area. And throughout today, things were a bit shaky at different parts of the day. So you can see here we were trading below the weekly value area, but we kept getting these, candles where it looks like dip buyers were coming in. And you can see even towards the close, things are pretty ambiguous. We made it all the way up to the overnight high, but we weren't really pushing through it. And you can see in the after hours market, we clearly did push through, and now we're above that weekly point of control, and we really only have a couple more, S&P 500 points until we're above that, weekly value area high. So we'll have to see. We're still sort of like on the cusp here. One of the things that got me sort of like in a more like defensive posture where I actually wanted to hedge was, this gamma roll-off. And, so essentially we had the volatility on Friday. Now this week, sort of what I was bracing for, I was like, okay, let's see if we actually get, the volatility that comes into the market. Less support in the form of those gamma and vana flows. And let's just see if we have a little air pocket of weakness. Today, that's not really what we got at all. And one of the keys, in my opinion, is, we got Netflix earnings after the close today. And Netflix, I actually played this one with a neutral butterfly. So this is going to be, a losing trade for me. Luckily, I sized it, very small. I do earnings trades all the time. And for me, like my results are somewhere around 50-50. So when I trade earnings, I'll just trade like one contract and make it small size. The structure that I put on was I did essentially like an iron condor, and I sold the 485, 475 put spread, and I sold the 515, 525 call spread. So like we went fully through my upper strike on my calls. I sold that for like a $5.96 credit. So I'm going to take a max loss on that one, a loss of like $4.04. What I like to do when I'm selling premium is, I try to make sure my max loss in the trade is much smaller than my max gain. So like for this one, it kind of sucks that Netflix, just blew it out of the water. Like I was looking at their results, and they were really nice. Like, there were more users acquired than was expected. They're going to be doing share buybacks now. They had some announcement about like Bridgerton, one of their popular shows. So everything in there was like, pretty good. And this stock has been consolidating sideways for a good 6 or 7 months. So this one, I just got beaten on that trade, which is okay. To be honest, I was a little frustrated. Like the reason why I'm even doing this video much later, I had a haircut today, but I don't think I'm going to be doing many more earnings trades throughout this season because I just don't really think I have a very good edge in earnings. Like I could see where if something like the expected move is like ridiculous, then maybe it makes sense to like sell the premium in it. But Netflix, I think to be honest, I should have known better because this stock has been range bound for so long, essentially like just waiting for new information. So I don't think I really entered in a good risk reward spot. Like I entered this on the bottom of value. So this one, I was kind of kicking myself for it, but it's okay. But yeah, the thing is with Netflix reporting those great results, now what I'm thinking is like, okay, Netflix reported a good quarter and they're kind of like going, not to the moon, but they went up like 10%. So what about these other stocks, these other Fang stocks that have been dormant, for the past 6 months? Like Amazon looks very similar. Apple is going to also have a very similar look. Yep, Apple actually looks, arguably even more bullish. And then you have Google, which had a really good day today. So I honestly think, like, given this new information that Netflix earnings beat, everything might be turned on its head. Like, even though we're getting this gamma roll-off, like, blah, blah, blah. If these FANG stocks end up getting stronger, people start bidding them up, it's very tough to get any sort of, like, market weakness or sell-off when the FANG stocks are very strong. Because they make up such a big portion of these indices. So I'm actually in an interesting situation where, I have a SPY hedge and an IWM hedge. Tomorrow I'm going to have to make the call of like, do I want to cut these off just right now and just rip the Band-Aid off and move on? So I'll have to figure that out. But then we have, for our sectors and style factors, let's take a look. To be honest, what I'll do, I think for those hedges, is I'll probably just put, a stop on them. And then if it hits my stop, I'll just get taken out. I think that's like a better way of going about it for me personally than like having a mental stop or using discretion. Anyway, that's why I like doing these videos too, because it helps me sort of like think through my own trading. But for our sectors and style factors, we had a bunch of, really strong areas. Like we had all the ARK funds doing really well, up like, 3 to 4% each. We had the K-Web, the Chinese internet names, did really well today, up 5.17%. If we take a look at some of those names, we had, a really nice run in Tencent. So you can see Tencent making a nice move. Bilibili, the one that's really shown a lot of relative strength, up 4.28%. Even PDD, which I stopped out of the other day, looks like it's sort of regaining some momentum. There were some sellers in there, but yeah, these Chinese stocks did really well. And then for our laggards, we had some of those more defensive areas. Like we had utilities down, we had staples down, we had telecommunications down. So a couple of weak areas, but overall, very strong deep today. And then for our style factors, we had international momentum, which is probably aided by a lot of those Chinese equities of 1.34%. And then we had the growth names, that style factor up 1.15%. And then this is another indication, like this is pretty risk on, where the worst performing style factor was the high div, low vol. Now for some of my trades today, I already talked about Netflix. DKNG, I took a stop on. This one, there was a short report out on this one by Hedgeye. And this one, I had some May calls still on the books. There were 55 strike May calls. And that short report just didn't give me good feelings about DKNG. As soon as it came out, I was like, I need to stop out. So I stopped out at a pretty good trade location for today. Like probably somewhere around like $52.60. And then this one, DraftKings ended up pulling back to that 20-day simple moving average. So I took like about a 16% loss on that position. So today was kind of rough for me because I felt like some of the more like high percentage, like this one to me was like a high percentage trade, just didn't really work out. And that's something like with trading, I only expect to win like 55% of my trades anyway. So this one was just like, falls in that 45% bucket. And then I also, made that mistake of playing that Netflix earnings trade. So we'll see. Tomorrow's a new day. I'm just going to make sure, if those hedges need to come off or anything like that, I'm just going to take them off, no problem, and then just move on. Because today I would definitely consider today was kind of like frustrating for me. Even though I finished positive, it was just kind of like, didn't feel so happy with myself. So we have ZNTE. This is one that I entered today. And this one, it's a SPAC that wants to acquire a company, within the aerospace segment. Let me just pull this one up. Yeah, because I've had a lot of success trading these SPACs. So I figure, let me just reload the deck and go for another one. So this one, they're targeting the aviation, aerospace, and defense, urban mobility, and emerging technology industries. This one, pretty nice run today. It's still pretty close to that $10 par value. So I figured let me jump into this one. Instead of keeping, cash on the sidelines, I'm going to try to put it to work. So this one, we'll see what happens with ZNTE. And then, some names that I'm watching for tomorrow are Skills. This is one I was watching for most of today. Skills up 7.8% today. And this one, has been on a really nice run. Even when it pulls back, every pullback is pretty much being bought up pretty voraciously. And this one, I think it would make sense for this one to base sideways for a little bit. But I do think this is a good long-term pick. And I would like to position myself in this stock. So I'm going to keep watching it. And then Jumia is one that I would like to add to as well. Or Jumia, you can see here, we're getting sort of like some sideways to upward price movement. And this is another one where we had a dip and it was bought up pretty aggressively. EOS was one that I put on Friday. This one was sort of like a bright spot for me. Like I said, my trading day was like not the best compared to what I usually do. So this one, was good. I at least had like one nice stock that I put on Friday that worked. So this went up 13.76%. The other one that I put on Friday was Progeny. And this one, not really like a crazy day because it did get a little bit overbought on Friday. But yeah, this one is doing the right thing. I'm definitely going to, just give this one a lot of room because I really like the relative strength that it's showing. So we'll see. This one up 2.15%. And then another one that I actually added to today was Dragonfly. And this one, this is like the most risky stock I've ever participated in, probably in my life. But it just seems like it's, doing the right thing. So like, I think I've pointed this out a couple times, but Dragonfly, like if we look at the weekly chart, I'll make it a little bit easier, like for context. So if you look at this weekly chart, the highest price level this stock has ever gotten to is like $1.47. And you can see like, it opened up at $1.47 and then just immediately sold, right off. You can see in the beginning here, essentially no volume, like non-existent. Then it kind of got stuck around 50 to 60 cents for like a year. Like I actually remember trying to play this stock about a year ago and it was just doing nothing, complete dead money, so I walked away. But this one I ended up adding on like one of these on a recent breakout candle like on the daily chart. But just look at how much volume is coming into this stock now. It's totally different. Like this thing has totally changed character. And this one, they're going to be uplisted to the NASDAQ. So I just think there's going to be more capital allocators that will be allowed to participate in this stock once it's on the NASDAQ. And I think this company, it's a drone company. And that's sort of like the latest zeitgeist. Like with Cathie Wood venturing into like space through her new ARC X fund that's coming out. Anything with like drones, aviation, stuff like that. I think it's going to be pretty popular. So this one, I originally added a position, one of these two candles right here. I think I got in on that first breakout right there. Yeah, because my original cost basis, I have some like, most of my cost basis in the upper like 67 cents to like 90 cents. And this one, it just looks like, it's moving. I see even on this pullback, it's coming on lower volume than this nice breakout candle. So it's just doing the right thing. So I allocated a little bit more to Dragonfly today. And then, yeah, that was about it for my trades. Let's take a quick look at some options order flow and just see what's going on. So that was another thing too. Like today I was kind of like, I don't want to say confused, but I had a couple hedges on. I'd taken some trades off on Friday. So it's like one of those where like once you add like a couple hedges, it's like you're almost like hoping for the market to go down. Didn't really see that today. And I also started seeing like a bunch of puts coming down, like hedges. So if you see this, like there's IWM puts coming down. There's a couple spies. I saw some spies come down like right on the open. So I was like, I don't know if I want to take these off. I'll give them a little bit more leash. So tomorrow's probably like do or die for any of my hedges. The one thing I hate is like having hedges on and then they're just like wiping away the gains from like your winning longs, and it's just like it's annoying. So for me, it's either like I'm gonna be hedged or not. And then you can see Apple is getting some flow, and Apple has been getting call flow, for the past like month or two, even though it hasn't moved much. So you can see this looks like a stock replacement play with a strike price of only 60. But Apple is definitely going to be a name that I'm watching tomorrow. Because like I said, for the Netflix, really nice earnings report, there might be a bunch of these other FANG names that move. Because I know everybody that's active in the markets is going to be like, well, if Netflix had a good earnings report, maybe Apple will, or maybe Amazon will, that sort of stuff. So I'll probably be watching Apple tomorrow. And then we had, this one was weird. I think this is a typo. This is NASDAQ calls, and it says the price was $2,960 for the calls, but the price of this stock is like $140. So I think that was a typo with this or something. Something happened there. And then you have some Tesla flow coming in. One thing I do notice about this Tesla flow is that it is slowing down quite a bit. I don't really see the call buyers just like lunging at this thing anymore and gamma squeezing it higher. Although it does look like it's flagging here, and I would not be surprised if it does make another run. But yeah, this one, it looks like there's a little bit less exuberance with those call buyers. So that being said, that about does it for this market recap video. My goal for tomorrow is just come in with a fresh mind, with a game plan, and execute on it. I hope you guys all have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow.